Fellow citizens. The world is very different now.
Welcome back. I'm Tyler, you're watching Scarfing Scarves, and welcome to the 78th installment of Last Week Lolita News. At the top of the segment, Angelic Pretty's teacup prince seems poised to come back from the war, as this latest picture from AP Candy suggests that a Rose Tea Garden release is finally nigh. It would appear that they released it in the middle of my writing this script, and word on the street is that Ye Olde Plague slowed the production of this series to a glacial crawl, and as this reporter has been stalking any whisper of it since the release of these pictures, I can confidently say that anyone who gets in my way is likely to find a serving tray spontaneously implanted in their skull. Is exactly what I would have said if a certain something hadn't popped up on the secondhand market and obliterated any interest in Salon de the Rose's off-brand cousin. Best of luck to you on the battlefield in the US release. We can likely expect this online either this weekend or the next in the States, with an emailed announcement that only the nocturnal or truly obsessive will ever see. The US branch certainly has learned a lot about previous bloodbaths crashing their site, and kudos to them for only sending out a word on a release when most of the country is either unconscious or staring into the inky darkness of another night spent on whatever portion of the internet least reminds them that this global pandemic has forced a lot of us to live in the rough square footage of a pet hamster. At least Mr. Nibbles has a little wheel to take out his existential dread, but when I'm found screaming from atop my refrigerator, I run the risk of my cohabitant calling the cops. Meanwhile, Alice in the Pirates release of Pray for Flowers is set to start reservations on August 21st. The normal OP comes in dark mint, Bordeaux, navy, and black, and those with a little less discretion can satiate their urge to dress like Esther Blanchett in a dress subtly dubbed the Cross Coffin Long OP. Sources say that Nunfucker 9000 was taken, and while we're on the subject of absolute decadence, Russian indie brand Miss Danger has come out with their latest creation by way of Royal Heart. This gorgeous piece will cost you about the equivalent of that same vital organ, and those who cannot afford parting with a major piece of their circulatory system are encouraged to use their handy-dandy payment plan now for the low price of an arm now and a leg later. It's safe to say they're Putin on the Ritz, and I'd like to apologize for shoving those words in your eardrums. This show is in actual danger of becoming something of quality, and I'd rather you keep your expectations for me somewhere around the level of an angry feral cat. Easily the worst joke of my entire career. And back to the actual point, this fantastic frock comes in OP, JSK, and skirt, both in burgundy and black. And the pre-order closes on August 23rd, meaning that this information may be entirely useless by the time you receive it, depending entirely on how many bottles of whiskey it takes to edit this fracking video. Also, delivery is expected to be in October, just in time for all those Halloween festivities like staring up your friend's nose in a Zoom call, screaming at them from 6 feet away, or that timeless tradition, launching bags of candy at small children from a distance because God forbid those little plague rats get their germ-infested fingers within 50 feet of your sanitized abode. Catch me on my roof like the shit's the zombie apocalypse, potato gun in hand, and enough Jolly Ranchers to birdshot the entire block. Speaking of the trappings of assault charges, US-based indie brand The Angelic Forest's latest series, Girly Gang, is violently cute with an aesthetic that is only added to by some supremely unwelcoming sweets with phrases such as no thanks, back off, and take one more unsolicited picture, old man, and I will shove that iPhone down your throat. Okay, I made up that last one, but I'd like to advocate that Spangler Candy start printing the same warnings on their products, given their propensity for tasting like tongue boxing a chalkboard. That aside, Girly Gang comes in a bevy of different size options, with the largest going up to a 60-inch bust, and the smallest coming in between 30 and 40. The available colors are white, pink, lavender, and black. The turnaround time is estimated to be 3 months, and I don't know when the pre-order ends because I tried to spend as little time on their site as possible, lest First I start blowing through my AP budget, and Maki and Asuka crash through my window with a bat. Meanwhile, indie brand Lily of the Valley's latest lovely frock goes by the name Royal Bee. Pre-order begins August 28th at 11:59 p.m. and it comes in navy, midnight black, and 5 different sizes for those interested in living out their Bee-Lita dreams in a less traumatic context. Those who are wondering what I'm on about can check out Lore's video. My stomach still hasn't recovered from the last dive into things that make me consider tossing my eyes into some Listerine. The unholy horrors we witnessed together aside, as no one has gone out of their way to verbally punch someone in a comment section, the community has been surprisingly well behaved for 5 seconds. And as that about wraps up the week in notable new releases, we turn towards last week Lolita News' next special segment. And LWLN's newest feature to fill the gaps when online communities comport themselves like functioning adults. We're going to read some stupid comments to filth. Welcome to Low-Hanging Fruit. And we begin with the first out the gate, a comment that is surely to get this video demonetized, but who needs coin when you have a cornucopia of prevert defense forces committing their last 2 brain cells to defending something that, if there was any justice in the world, would immediately result in locusts, frogs, and other biblical level shit that would have these types thinking twice before they started jerking it to a trial run of what is essentially kitty diddling by any other name. Now, is that a strange thing for an atheist to say given the circumstances? Yes! Do I use this particular rhythm way too much to provide a break from my entirely predictable format of details followed by mockery followed by saying something so heinous I can't believe this show continues to exist in a space where people have been drawn and quartered for way fracking less? Yes, and I'm not about to stop, especially given that arguments like this are so laughably bereft of substance, we may as well be arguing with a boiled egg. You can't convince me that their brain isn't just as smooth, and Zulno's Humpty here is falling down with a bang as they impart.
This video is disgusting. I honestly thought better of you. Who cares if this girl wore AP in porn? People cosplay in porn all the time, and cosplayers don't lose their shit. I'm a Lolita myself, but I'm not gonna get mad that someone wore something in porn because I, nor do the rest of the Lolita community, have the right to. We don't own the rights to these dresses. Anyone can wear them however they want to. There are no rules that say they can't be worn in porn. You don't have to like it. You don't even have to respect it. But you shouldn't be hateful. I am so ashamed of the Lolita community right now.
I don't know if this person is lost, confused, or just the concussed offspring of a June bug that bashed its brainless little skull into a porch light before falling stunned to the ground. But I have to say, the funniest part of this screed is, I honestly thought better of you. I would like to inform them that this is a you problem. This type of content is not new to my channel, and I don't know what twisted impression gave you the idea that I possess a soul, but this is not the Fun Time Hugbox channel. This is Satan's browser history run by a woman who starts the day looking to verbally stab people. I have made no secret of just who I am, and as for why people care if some plushie humper wears a supremely non-sexual fashion in a diet kitty porn context, I'm afraid explaining it to you would do little good as it was laid out quite well in the video. None of this breached that KY jelly you call a brain, and just because you've waived your rights to quote, get mad about it, doesn't mean the rest of the Lolita community has to do anything you fracking gargle out. Also, you're comparing Lolita to cosplay as a dead giveaway that you have the taste of a garbage bin. Cosplay carries none of the built-in resistance to sexualization as its community is simply united under dressing up in character costumes, i.e. not related to an actual fashion community in any way. A thing I can't believe I actually have to explain to you, though I suppose I shouldn't be surprised given I'll bet you like to lick subway poles in your spare time. Finally, someone cosplaying in porn would be just as bad if the associated performers didn't take the basic steps to keep it out of safe for work spaces, and I'm willing to bet you're just ignorant of the people who have spoken up about it, that or actively ignoring them because God forbid your playpen have to play host to the barest scrap of common decency. That said, I think it's past this commenter's bedtime, as well as long past the time we move to our next contestant, who writes,
I unsubscribed. I'm from Belgium. Even though he/she is an awful person, there is no reason for you to bash a small country and foreign people. I know 3 languages and I still spell wrong sometimes because it is not easy to switch. Bye.
Wow, you know, I feel really bad about this. I think this merits an apology. And I'd like to take the moment to say, I'm sorry that you live in a country so small that it could be blown over by a stiff breeze. That your birthplace is an afterthought on the world stage, and that you fell out of the stupid tree as a child and hit every branch on the way down, and that the most you've accomplished by knowing, quote, 3 languages is being absolutely insufferable in 3 different dialects. Also, no one cares that you unsubscribed. No content creator worth their salt gives a flip when you do, and I hope that limp dick you call an existence serves you well the next time you think about opening your multilingual mouth to spew some Google Translate tripe. We'll give Pudding for Brains here a break, and turning towards our next and final missive for the evening, I present to you perhaps the dumbest thing I have ever read from what I'm hoping was just a donkey in a fancy hat. We're going to call this person Honker, and Honker says,
This is the first video I've ever seen of yours, and IDK if people tell you this, but you are so mean. Could be seen as a bully too. Like for no reason, you're so cruel. This entire video has been you attacking folks. IDK if all your videos are this, but putting this much negative energy out into the world isn't helping you or anyone watching this video/channel. Do you feel better after attacking people? I won't be a subscriber or someone who ever watches another video by you, but it would be cool to see positivity.
IDK if people tell you this, but your dad definitely conceived you in a bee suit because there has to be some freaky shit in your DNA for you to type like you sniff lead paint for a living. And considering that you've polluted the public discourse in a way that makes the rising forces of climate change look like a hummingbird's burp, you might want to worry less about the quote, negative energy I'm delivering to the world, and more about the reality that you shouted into the void, and the void replied that you should absolutely stick your dick in a goat. And while you think it would be, quote, cool to see some positivity, it would be even cooler if the next time you had a thought, you remembered that nothing you've ever said has mattered. Your dying legacy will be a sigh of relief from everyone who's ever had to contend with you. And in your words, this is the first comment I've ever seen of yours, and I don't know if people tell you this, but you're verbally pissing in the wind. You make Florida man look like a Nobel laureate, and no one will give a flying fuck if tomorrow you get in a head-on collision with a clown car and spend the rest of your life with a rubber nose embedded in your left thumb. So if you ever try to type something this stupid again, all you'll get is furious honking. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what bullying looks like. That's all the time we have for tonight. This has been Tyler, you've been watching Scarfing Scarves, and before you wonder at what horrific things went on in my childhood to produce such gleeful sadism one step removed from a human rights violation, I'd like to thank my patrons for being the sole reason I haven't been found mugging people with a parasol. You guys are the thin line between me and a police lineup. And should you like to join their number or keep me from polite society, you can head over to patreon.com/lastweeklolitanews for more content that I don't recommend in any capacity ever, you have been warned. Thanks again, guys, and I'll catch you next time. Oh, fuck, I almost forgot. Quick announcement. I am doing a Q&A video. Cons are not happening due to COVID, and Q&As were always really fun, and you guys generally have a frack ton of questions, so I figured it might be fun to do an online Q&A instead. I am reserving 5 questions for patrons, so if you're an LWLN patron, get over to the Q&A thread, and 5 questions for the public, so you can ask your questions below this video, and if you can't think of a question, just like or upvote or whatever frackin' social media platform we're on YouTube, the comment that you like or the question that you like, and I will pick 5 of them, and I will take into account the most popular ones. Unless you're like asking for my address or my blood type or other nefarious things. Don't make me regret this.